Great day, great day, great day, great day, y'all. It's a great day. I know some of you saying, Edwina, it is evening time. But guess what? The day is not over with. And in the 12-step recovery program of Alcoholics Anonymous, they said you can turn your day around any time of the day, right? And so the reason why I say it's a great day is because normally I would not be sitting here in front of y'all this evening, right? I am a morning person because I go to bed 8 o'clock. And so, as a committed and dedicated person, as I practice being, you hear the word, as I practice being, that I have learned to stay committed to myself and to those God has entrusted to be in their presence, right? And so, as you can see, I'm sitting here and in my bedroom, and this is my homemade studio. And so as a result, I said, well, since I normally come on in the morning by saying, great morning, great day, fantastic morning. He woke us up this morning. He woke you up this morning. He woke me up this morning. But guess what? I am still breathing. And so that is my normal approach in the morning. And because I was out of town this morning, I said, you know what? I can do it this evening because most people don't get up at 6:30 in the morning to turn me on, even though you can review the video later on today. So I am here live this evening to share with you my perspectives on the daily reflections of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous, and the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family, okay? And so I wanted to do this hour show today because there are some turning points in my life that I want to share with you. And as a result, a half hour does not give me the ample time to really dig deep, to really get to the nitty-gritty, right? To get to the core of what I want to share with you through the Holy Spirit. Yes. And so I said, well, let me go drink a couple sips of coffee and let me do this 6:30 to 7:30 special episode because listen, I knew I had planned to do this and I got in my bed around 4:30, right? Say I'm going to take a couple hours nap. And you know how you get in the bed and you don't want to get out the bed and you don't got comfortable? Well, I was going through that, talking to myself. Edwina, do you want to do it? Edwina, do you want to cancel? I'll wait till tomorrow, right? And so it is through the 12 spiritual principles of a 12-step program, and recently the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family that I began to speak positivity in my mind. I began talking to myself and said, no, Edwina, be impeccable with your word. Get up, get going. You can do it. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today, this evening, if you will, because the topic for the daily reflection is entitled At the Turning Point. And so as a result of me practicing being committed to myself, to their own self be true, even though you may be enjoying this and want to hear this, but I am doing it for me. I am doing it for me. I am making myself do what the God of my understanding has prepared me to do, right? And so my humanness and everything else want to get in the way to stop me from being here with you to share with you my experience, my strength, my hope, my perspective on the daily reading, and more recently, information on the 5 agreements, okay? So I normally start my videos before I get into the topic with a moment of meditation. In a 12-step program and other places, we do a moment of silence. And that's great, right? And so I've learned to use some instrumental music to help me quiet my mind. And so I want to share that with you before we get into our topic. See if you recognize the melody. But before then, I want you to take a deep breath. And if you can, close down everything, your phone, your TV, your radio, and just close it down. Because right now I'm going to put on a instrumental song that speaks to why we are all here at this very moment. Whether you seeing it now or you will see it later. So quiet your mind, close your eyes, and just listen to this meditative music for about a minute or so, okay? All right, here we go. Thank you. Thank you. And the song is entitled Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, and now I see. And so I get into this quiet moment so that I can share with you my authentic self, my transparency to their own self be true. And the reason why I say that is because 32 plus years ago, underneath a parked car in the streets of Philadelphia, I was a full blown alcoholic, crack addict, prostitute, and the whole 9 yards. And on February the 22nd of 1990, I had been getting high all day with my stepson and doing all kinds of sexual favors with him. And when everything was said and done, he proceeded to want to harm me like any bitch in the street. Because under the influence of drugs and alcohol, we transform. And so as I began to run from him, I believe to save my life, I got a flashback from my past as a child. Whenever I was afraid, I would get underneath the bed. Whenever I played hide and seek, I would get underneath the bed. If I didn't want anybody to find me or anybody to touch me, I would get underneath the bed. And so as I was running for my life, I saw a slew of parked cars and I put myself underneath that parked car to keep my stepson from getting to me. We were both at the age of 34 years old. And so when I put myself underneath that parked car, my life flashed before me. I was crying, I was upset. And the flashbacks of how I had aspirations and dreams and wanting to be a model and an actress and a phys ed teacher and all of that. And I was the vice president of my class and the co-captain of the cheerleader team. I had goals and I had ambitions. I wanted to succeed. And as I began to model some of the examples that were in my house pretending, right? Makeup, wigs, this and that, and this and that, and the alcohol and the drinking and the promiscuity and all of that. I was a confused child, but nevertheless, that saying, do as I say and not as I do, as a child, that does not work. And so, underneath that part called the addiction part, the rapes, the beat ups, trying to commit suicide a few times, my family disowning me, my children ashamed of me, and me hating myself, wondering what's wrong with me, what's wrong with you, Edwina. And so, through that experience, and some of you have heard it before, but it is as if it was last night, this morning, that I went through that same experience. And that's why I can relive that moment, but I can also relive the moment when God set me free unknowingly to me. And so, underneath that parked car, I hollered out these words for the God who I didn't know, didn't have a personal relationship with, to take me out this life or show me a better way. So, that was a turning point in my life at the age of 34. And I didn't look nothing like this. And so, the reason why I'm wearing this mask, these masks, is to demonstrate that God accepts you just the way you are. But underneath that parked car, it was not about any mask. I was spiritually bankrupt. I was spiritually naked. I was spiritually depleted. So it didn't matter to me how I looked. And so, to some 30 something years later, I wanted to. Oh God, how can I do this? All right, there's somebody's calling me already, but okay, I'm not going to answer. So underneath that parked car, I know that I was at my the end of my road, the bottom, okay? And so what I did was I am going to share with you how important it is for you to come to the God of your understanding just as you are. And so when I say I am transparent, I am transparent. The mask must go. And so at the topic for the topic for tonight, at the turning point and sharing with you for this hour, is that I'm able to take off the mask. Yes. Let me tell you about these wigs. As a child, I had an Aunt Margaret, right? She used to wear all kinds of wigs, right? She had a wig for the daytime. She had a wig for the nighttime. She had a wig for the old men. She had a wig as a prostitute. And I just saw all these different masks and wigs. And I vowed I would never wear a mask. I would never wear a wig, okay, because I saw that it represented different things. And so underneath that parked car, I said, God, accept me as I am, right? And so I take off these glasses because I want to take off the additional mask of the makeup, or of the makeup, right? I don't need it. I don't want it. I want God to accept me just the way I am, just the way He made me. And I got to stop crying because I just get so emotionally, in a good way, in a spiritual way, because the transparency of an individual can really impact a person's life. And so I we always tell people in recovery, don't get messed up in the mess, don't get hung up in the messenger, just close your eyes and listen to the message. But I'm right now at turning points in my life, and I'm taking off the mask, particularly by reading the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family. And so, and right now I'm going to take out my teeth, right? Huh? This is how authentic I am, y'all. This is how transparent I am. Let me tell you, I had somebody say to me, Edwina, why would you do that? Why would you take off your teeth like that, Edwina? No. Oh, yes. Yes. But I could not criticize or judge her because she don't know where I'm coming from and the reason why I take out my teeth. I was born without them, and I would probably die without them, right? But cocaine and alcohol took my teeth, right? They took them, and through recovery, I was able to get some back, right? Even though this is my second or third set. But I want to ask you, am I the same, Edwina? Am I the same person? Okay, you don't know. Guess what? Because of the different masks I have worn over the years and the different masks I can still wear today. But I want you to see the authenticity of who I am and how these 12 spiritual principles help me to learn and love who I am. And more importantly, who God is helping me to become for his glory. All right. So only reason why I I don't get offended when I take my teeth out. Number one, and they hurt sometimes. And then number two, what? I'm not wearing the mask. I don't have to please you. I just have to please my God, and he accepts me just the way I am. So, and there have been times on TV or when I'm speaking, I take them out. Why? Because I don't want people to get hung up in what they see and all this and all. No, this is how I look when I go to bed. This is how I look when I wake up. So I need you to see me for what I am and who I am, right? And so I only, and then, wait, and then sometimes I can't find my teeth, right? And so that's another reason I'm transparent, because sometimes I had to share without them because I couldn't find them. All right. But I'm going to put them back in right now just to articulate and pronunciate these words. Okay. All right. So now that we set the foundation for our special episode tonight, let's get into the topics. Okay. And I need my glasses. Okay. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you were inspired by that. I hope you accepted that. And guess what? That's my hope. But the reality is, only God knows who that message was for. And it might just be for one person. And guess what? When I do what God asked me to do, my job is done. All right. And so we're really going to hone in tonight on the topic in the 12-step recovery program, because I don't represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but been a proud member for over 32 plus years. And if it's God's will that I wake up on February the 23rd of 2023, we will be celebrating 33 years free from addiction, alcoholism, right? The associated behaviors, prostitution, and all of that, right? And so one of the things that I vowed to do underneath that car and asking him to take me out this life now or show me a better way. He didn't take me out, and he put me on a pathway to recovery, and I haven't looked back since. And the only reason why I look back and go back is to help somebody else. All right. And so what the topic is and the title is At the Turning Point. As I calm myself down, because I can get really, right? I'm just an energetic person. And I'm going to pause and take a sip of water. That's a turning point too, because I don't like water, but I'm going to drink it. I'm drinking it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad, but I did it anyway, right? And so one of the things I want us to reflect on, that this is a one day at a time program. And being a part of a 12-step spiritual program, we are among people who are just like us, had problems with addiction, alcoholism, drugs, and all that kind of stuff. And guess what? Every human being suffers from some kind of addiction. And we believe that every human being can benefit from a 12-step program that offers 12 spiritual principles, right? And so the format is, I normally put up the reflection reading for today, and I read it full screen, and you read it. So hopefully you are hearing and you are reading. But when I go back to break it down and to digest it and to operate on it, I want you to listen with your spiritual ears, okay? Because this is literature, and it's something that we read on a daily basis to help us focus on that topic for the day in the event that we need to be reminded or we need to learn to unlearn something that was not good for us. All right, so let's get into the daily reflection. And then you will also see in the reading that I had the 5 agreements that was published or written by the Ruiz family. And this book, where are you? This book has really changed my life in terms of enhancing my spiritual wisdom. And so I definitely want all of you to get a copy of, it's called the 4 agreements, but they're really 5 agreements. But if you go to the website of miguelruiz.com, that's MIGUELRUIZ.com, and get a copy of this book and the host of other things that him and his 2 sons have published. When I say that I'm on fire, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. And I am so glad that when in our journey we come across things, I believe, that are divinely positioned for us to learn from, to benefit from, if anything else, to elevate our spiritual wisdom. And I often say, when I was underneath that parked car, and Dr. Jay Macklin always say I helped her, but no, she helped me like somebody else helped me. We ask the wrong question with ourselves, and we'll say, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But according to Dr. Alvin Turner, that's the wrong question. The question should be, what happened to you? What happened to me? And that's why doing the 12 spiritual principles, particularly the 4-step inventory, helps us to go back and to find out where and how those ideas, behaviors, thoughts, action, right, were first formulated, and by whom and in what circumstances. So you are able to go back to find out what happened to you, right? And so as a result of learning that, I came across the 5 agreements that's enhancing my turning points every second, every day, which is another reason why I'm sitting up in front of you, because one of them was be impeccable with your word. I needed to get up out that bed and come and sit before you and do what God told me to do. Okay, so let's get to the reading today. All right, so let's see here. Okay, add to the screen. Okay, and I'm going to do a full screen, and I want y'all to hear me first while I read it to you. And if you want to read along, you can. It says January the 7th, AA Daily Reflections at the Turning Point. And go to aa.org to read more information about Alcoholics Anonymous. And the 5 agreements I will be incorporating in my sharing are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, always do your best, and be skeptical, but learn to listen. Here's the reading for today at the Turning Point. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 59. And the alcoholic in recovery shares his perspective by stating, every day I stand at turning points. My thoughts and actions can propel me toward growth or turn me down the road to old habits and taboos. Sometimes turning points are beginnings, as when I decide to start praising instead of condemning someone, or when I begin to ask for help instead of going it alone. At other times, turning points are endings, such as when I see clearly the need to stop festering resentments or crippling self-seeking. Many shortcomings tempt me daily. Therefore, I also have daily opportunities to become aware of them. In one form or another, many of my character defects appear daily. Self-condemnation, anger, running away, being prideful, wanting to get even, or acting out of grandiosity. Attempting half measures to eliminate these defects merely paralyzes my efforts to change. It is only when I ask God for help with complete abandon that I become willing and able to change. All right. And so if you looked at the word that says, right, turning points, let me stop right here. Many people say it's a new year, and it is according to the calendar, right? But people like myself in recovery, we say when we recognize that God of our understanding woke us up this day, we practice giving him the honor, the glory, the praise, the acknowledgement for waking us up, right? And we are aware that we are breathing, that the alarm clock didn't wake us up, the trash truck didn't wake us up, the babies, the spouses didn't wake us up. Our creator woke us up, right? And so for us, that is a turning point in our lives each and every day. This is how we get to dissect the readings and hone into tangible examples and experiences. Like at the turning point, we woke up today. We had another and have another chance to get it right. That is a turning point. And as you read or heard in the reading, that turning point for this day could give me the choices of turning left or turning right or not turning at all. Okay. And so I'm going to be incorporating some of the 5 agreements as I share. So let's dissect this a little bit more, and then we'll go to the 5 agreements. All right. Half measures availed us nothing. Okay. Half measures availed us nothing. Think about it. Now, before I get into our alcoholic thinking and our behaviors and attitudes and ideas, let's see if you can get in touch with something. Half measures availed us nothing. What does that mean to you? Have you tried to do something half? You know what I'm trying to say, huh? And what was the result? Let me give you another tangible experience or example. How many of us brought a product or brought some type of furniture or brought something that came with instructions? You know where I'm going with that, right? Huh? How many of us did this with the instructions? Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Here go the instructions. No, I don't need it. I can do it. I can do it. And we go to put that together, and we find out that something ain't right. Half measures availed us nothing. Okay, you get my drift? And so we in Alcoholics Anonymous, we apply that to when we were drinking and drugging, we didn't do half or nothing. We did it all and some more. Half measures was not even in our vocabulary. Drink, 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 drug, drug, drug. So it's all going, and guess what? I'm licking it off the floor, licking it off the bottle. What? Half measures? I'm going all the way. And so that is the same attitude, drive, energy that we need in our recovery process. Half measures availed us nothing. Either we're going all the way or we're not going. There's no straddling the fence, and we believe in recovery. When you have a made-up mind, that's what it is, a made-up mind. A point of no return. You are at the turning point that either you want to go left or you want to go right. And when my God did not take me out this life, he put me on the pathway to recovery, and I had a made up mind. That was my turning point, and I was not going to do anything half. So that's what it means when we talk about in recovery, half measure availed us nothing. Why? Because we stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Huh? Huh? Can I ask you this? That's why I had to go to 7:30. Have you had your knee bowing experience? Have you? Because in the scriptures in the Bible, right, one of the most sold books in the world, says that every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess that he is. So that means it doesn't matter how long, when, whatever, that every knee is going to bow. Whatever it was in our life, we did it this way and that way, and we failed constantly all the time. Why? Because we tried to do it alone, right? And it says, half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. So underneath that part, car, that was my cry. Whoever they say you are, take me out this life now, or show me a better way. I come to you just the way I am. I have no other place to go. I don't know what else to do. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And it was his choice. It was his choice that I live. It wasn't my choice. I'll listen. It was his choice that I live, so that he could prepare me to do what I'm doing right here, right now, to share how great thou art. And that through whatever addiction and whatever need-bound experience we have and will have, it's designed that way. So, with his protection and care with complete abandon, I surrender all. All right. Listen, I tell you. Can you imagine me doing this in a half hour? Okay, so let's see what the person in recovery says, okay? And he says, every day I stand at turning points. My thoughts and actions can propel me toward growth or turn me down the road to old habits and taboos. Oh, he says, we stand at turning points all day long. Right? And he recognizes that his thoughts, his actions can propel him toward growth or old habits and eventually back to booze. So each day that we are giving grace and mercy, particularly those of us who are in recovery, we have a committed attitude, a commitment to what? No half measures. We going all the way or we're not going. So going to my meetings every day. It's like making a doctor's appointment. I go to my meetings every day in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Right? I used to go to the bar every day. I used to go to the hitman every day. I used to prostitute every day. You mean to tell me I can't do the spiritual right thing that's going to help my spiritual growth? I can do that. I can do that. And so could he. So he goes on to say, right? Sometimes turning points are beginnings, as when I decide to start praising instead of condemning someone. And this is where the 5 agreements are really going to help us, right? or when I begin to ask for help instead of going it alone. How about them instructions, right? At other times, turning points are endings, such as when I see clearly the need to stop festering resentments or crippling self-seeking, right? So there are times, right, when turning points could be perceived as a beginning or an ending or both. Underneath that parked car, it was demonstrated. I was at the end of my road, but I was at the beginning of true living. Huh? And so when we in Alcoholics Anonymous, we decipher and we marinate and we construct surgery on these words, we take it one word, one sentence, one paragraph at a time. And we take our time to savor it, to marinate on it, right? To take little pieces so we can get the full impact, right? And so he says, right? Um, many shortcomings tempt me daily. Okay, here, that's a good one. Temptation is all around us all day long. And for the 12-step spiritual principles helps us to learn how to practice them on this daily journey called Earth, right? So in recovery, we identify what our triggers are. We identify the setups. We identify the temptations. We become aware of them, right? By doing and practicing and internalizing, right? And examining, right? Those 12 spiritual principles. If you want to change, we can't change ourselves. If we could, I would have stopped drinking years ago for my mother, for my children, but I couldn't change myself. We needed divine intervention in order to change. He does the changing for us. We just have to have the desire to change, right? And so through the knowledge that we get from ourselves, we learn what triggers us. We learn what the temptations are. We learn, when something is coming to kind of set us up. But let me tell you one thing about me and millions of others. We refuse to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to send us back to drinking. Oh, hell to the no. Yeah, I cuss. Oh, hell to the no. I practice not giving anything or anybody that much power ever again to make me go back underneath that parked car. No, no, no. All right. And so throughout the day, I've been prepared through these daily readings, right? Recognizing the information, practicing them until they become habits, which they have become, but they're good habits. They're great habits, right? Because they are producing spiritual results, right? So then he says, okay, I also have daily opportunities to become aware of them. Mm-hmm. See, in a 12-step program, we learn a lot of things. And when we learn them, we become aware of them, right? So we can no longer say, I don't know, or I don't know. No, when that aha moment comes in, when you recognize, you say, oh, wow, that you are aware now. Yes. Before we were automatic, robotic, right? But now from our emotional standpoint, and we learned that our emotions got us drunk because we didn't know how to deal, right? But with these 12 spiritual principles, they teach us how to detach from the emotions in order to make the most objective decision, right? And so we are aware now. And some of us, depending upon where you are in your journey, have to ask the question I ask myself. Edwina, is what you want to say, is what you want to do, is it going to feed the flesh or is it going to feed the spirit? depend upon where I am spiritually and what maintenance I have put on my spiritual condition, it will be decided. And thank God that it is not about perfection. We are about making progress. But one thing I've learned about recovery, when we fall, when we stumble, we are stumbling, falling forward, not going back because of the awareness. Did you see that? My teeth almost came out. I told y'all, listen, I'm cooking for Cocoa Pops. All right, let me get back to this thing. All right, so let me see how much time I got. Okay. All right, so now it says here, right? Let's go right here. He says, right? Okay. Woo! In one form or another, many of my character defects appear daily. Self-condemnation, anger, running away, being prideful, wanting to get even, or acting out of grandiosity, right? How many times during the day do you see and are aware of your character defects? And if you're not in recovery and you haven't done the inventory, you would say, what are character defects? I tell you what they are. We are born with natural God-given instincts, right? And so because we were given these God-given instincts for survival, for procreation, for security, for stability, right? We were given these God-given instincts, right? And because we are born into sin and inequity, right? Our characters have become defected by what mama said, daddy said, society said, da 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 da. And where is Edwina? Who is Edwina? I don't know. So now we are all acting out of our character defects, and all they are natural instincts that have far exceeded their intended purpose. So the reason why we are so honing in on our character defects, because we want God of our understanding to remove any and all things that prevents us from being used by him. All right. And so when we see people in recovery, why did that bother me? Why am I getting jealous? Why am I angry over that? We ask ourselves, what in my history has perpetuated this anger in me, this jealousy in me? Let me find a solution in the 12 spiritual principles. Okay. And then the last couple sentences, attempting half measures to eliminate these defects merely paralyzes my efforts to change. It is only when I ask God for help with complete abandon that I become willing and able to change. Underneath that parked car, yes, is when I abandon myself to the God that I didn't know, that I didn't have a personal relationship with, right? To take me out this life now or show me a better way. So for close to 33 years, one day at a time, I do the work. I do the work that's required and necessary for the God of my understanding to mold and shape me, right? And prepare me for things yet to come. I only have to do two things: stay sober and be willing to help another alcoholic achieve sobriety. Somebody said, when you only go to a meeting for an hour, that's right. Because that 1 hour we get the fellowship, we get positive feedback, we get spiritual readings, we get introduced to the steps and the traditions, we get everything we need in that hour to live the other 23 hours. Oh, yes. And practice is the key word, because we have to learn not to give anything or anybody that much power ever again. I don't care who it is or what it is to make me go back underneath that parked car. Hell no. 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 Okay. All right. So now that we have that, let's get into the 5 agreements. And I will demonstrate how these 5 agreements have really, really, really and heightened and enlightening my spiritual growth. Okay, the 5 agreements. Go to www.miguelruiz.com. That's MIGUELRUIZ.com. All right, so I got 15 minutes to share on these 5 agreements, and I'm going to incorporate the reading for today in using these 5 agreements. The first one is be impeccable with your word. Now, be impeccable with your word. Please look up the word peccable and then look up the word impeccable. I'm not going to do your homework for you. I want you to do your own research. But from what I have learned and from doing my own research, being impeccable with my word says, Edwina, don't sin against yourself. When you are impeccable with your word, you are sinning against yourself. Be impeccable with your word. That means without sin, right? Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Okay? So be impeccable with my word from this tangible experience I had about an hour ago. Laying in that bed, I had already made the commitment that I was going to do this evening, and I ate some food, and when I eat food, I get sleepy. I got into that bed, and that being impeccable with my word went out the window. I kept telling myself, Edwina, you ain't got to do it. Edwina, you ain't got to do it. Do it tomorrow. No, be impeccable with your word, Edwina. Get that negative information out. Start telling yourself you can, you will. You will do it. You will get up. And guess what? I'm up. So when I practice being impeccable with me, with my word, I can also become and be willing to be impeccable with my word regarding other people, right? And it says use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Oh my God. Y'all have to get the book, okay? Please come to a 12-step spiritual open AA meeting to learn this, because I can't give it to you all in a half hour, but please, please, please. Okay. And so now that I have am learning these 5 agreements and incorporating them in my life, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. Okay. So let's see what the next one says. Okay. Woo, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. How many of us, if not all of us, don't take everything personal? Woo, Lord, don't take anything personal. All of these 5 agreements are a pathway to total freedom, to total creativity, to become what God destined you to be, the artist, the creation that He put in you, right? And to practice this heaven. It says, give us this day our daily bread, as in heaven here on earth, right? You know, I'm excited, right? So, how many times and how often do all of us take things personally, whether it's positive or negative, right? We take it personally. But what this is saying is that, right, nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. And for the alcoholic and addict, right, in recovery, boy, do we take things personally, even in recovery. But when we keep coming back and we learn how words can impact us, and things we say to ourselves and what people say to us and what we say to others, we are committing sin against ourselves and towards others. They say in recovery, if it don't apply, let it fly. And that's when I know That's when I know this program, these spiritual principles are working in my life. These 5 agreements are working in my life. Other than that, I would not be able to take off my wig, take out my teeth if I didn't take things personally, right? I love being me. Yes, I do. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Okay. All right. So the next one says, okay, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Don't make assumptions. What? Are you kidding me? I know he's cheating on me. I know he robbed me. I know he stole my money. I know I ain't going to be nothing. I know I failed that test. All assumptions created by ourselves and by other people. Don't make assumptions. People say, Edwina, you tell it all. Yeah, because I don't want you to assume nothing. How about that? I'm not afraid to tell the truth. I'm not afraid to tell the truth today, right? You ask somebody in recovery, I don't have any secrets. I have no secrets. I am transparent. I am like an open book. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth as I know it. But I'm going to tell you what I know about me. I love me today. I have no secret. Doing that inventory and doing that 5th step and doing the 6th step, right? Being entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. I am not intimidated by man. No. So I'm going to practice not making any assumptions. And trust me, if I tell you, if you want to know something, ask me. And if I want to know something, you better believe I'm going to ask you. People say, we know where that comes. I said, no, I just what? I want to know. I ain't trying to make no assumptions, okay? Yeah, you can answer it or not, okay? But I'm going to ask because I don't want to assume, right? All right, so let's go to the next one, all right? And so here, wait a minute now. Okay, it says the next one, right? Always do your best. And it basically says your best is going to change from one moment to the next, right? It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So it says here, if I incorporate the first 3 agreements, be impeccable with my word. Don't sin against myself and don't sin against others, right? Be impeccable with your word, right? And if I don't take anything personally, right? And then I don't make assumptions, okay? Then I can do my very best because I'm not taking things personally. I'm not making assumptions and I'm being impeccable with my word. And one of the examples that they gave was Forrest Gump, right? Right? You know, he was happy doing all that he did because he wasn't seeking rewards, okay? And I said, I make every effort not to miss any of my AA meetings, right? Because I've learned that my AA meetings I view as my doctor's appointments. Yes, always do your best. People wonder why I had this happy-go-lucky attitude and why am I so positive and have all this energy because I've been practicing these 12 spiritual principles for almost 33 years. I'm not intimidated by man. I listen, whether you praise or criticize or judge, all the I've learned that I'm not going to take it personally because it's coming from your perspective. You know, I need acknowledgement, right? I need to give myself acknowledgement. I'm doing the best I can, right? And I'm not trying to compare myself with anybody else. And the freedom that I've gotten from these 12 spiritual principles to practice on this earthly journey, now coupled with the 5 agreements, woo, I'm on fire. All right, wait. Okay. Now, it says here, always do your best. Now, this is the next agreement and the 5th agreement, right? The 5th agreement says, be skeptical, but listen to learn. Don't believe yourself or anybody else unconditionally. Use the power of doubt to question everything you hear. Is it really the truth? Listen to the intent behind the words, and you will understand the real message. Be skeptical, but listen to learn. And take me for example. Again, less than about an hour ago in that bed, I did not want to get up, right? I was comfortable in that bed. And I started listening to myself, trying to convince myself, right, not to sit before you right now. I was giving myself all excuses, right? And so I had to listen to learn what my humanness was trying to tell me. And it wasn't the truth. The spiritual truth was you can, you will. Yes, you can. Because you are impeccable with your word. You're not taking even what you say personally. And you definitely ain't going to make no assumptions about yourself, right? You're going to do your best because you learn to listen, right? And to go beyond what you hear to find out the intent. Y'all need to get that book. That's all I can say. Okay. So let me give you an example, right? It says, don't believe yourself or anybody else unconditionally. Now, see, when we try to tell ourselves something or somebody trying to tell us something, whatever, it's always based on conditions. And the spiritual program of Alcoholics Anonymous and with these 5 agreements, God is love. And God loves unconditionally. And we in 12-step programs learn that because we have been conditioned all of our lives by many things and by many people. And I can say that I'm still practicing giving, loving unconditionally. But I have gained a whole lot of progress. And I intend to get better with it because it makes sense. And when Miguel Ruiz, he talked about, all this, what we're here on this earthly journey is to share love. And then he also said the truth is silent. Ooh, y'all got to read that book. Y'all got to come to a spiritual AA meeting that's open to the public. Oh, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I am ready. I am thirsty. I am hungry for more spiritual wisdom because you know why? I'm made in the image of God, and so are you. I love this thing. Okay, so I ain't got but a couple minutes now. All right, so let me go back and let me wrap up. Okay, so I want to say that I would love to do this an hour each day, but, and they say anything after but is BS. You know what I mean? I've learned to do my best with what I have, and I am normally on in the mornings from 6:30 to 7, and I'm on YouTube, Twitter, linked, Facebook. And so if you ever want to see any of my videos. Please access any of those platforms, and you can hear a lot of my experience, strength, hope, and perspectives from 3 years ago. I made a commitment this year to resume the daily reflections and now incorporating the 5 agreements, and I'm going to be prepared for God to put me on other platforms just to share my cuckoo for cocoa pops with you all and be as authentic and transparent as I possibly can. And I don't know how much more I can be, but guess what? I'm in love with recovery. I'm in love with life. No matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, I have tranquility. I have peace in the midst of whatever because I'm applying these 12 spiritual principles, now incorporating the 5 agreements and all the other spiritual wisdom that's going to enhance my spirituality. I'm so excited. And so I'm going to say, I hope you enjoyed this special episode of the breakdown of the AA Daily Reflection reading at the Turning Point and how I incorporated the 5 agreements, all from my perspective. But do your own research. Come visit us at an AA open meeting and go get the book called The 4 Agreements that includes the 5th agreement. To God be the glory.